first and foremost, we have seen a dramatic decline in illegal alien crossings, whether it's arrests and gotaways. And it was actually something that I didn't think that this administration would be able to tackle so quick. But I'll tell you, it was almost like from one day to the next that we started seeing that decline in illegal alien apprehensions. Here in Terrell County, even though that our numbers are lower than the historical numbers, during the Biden administration, we saw, just like the rest of the U.S.-Mexico border, record levels of crossings and gotaways in our county. We also saw record levels of deaths from people trying to enter the United States. So that was definitely a challenge for us. When you talk about the 10th largest county in the state of Texas, just over 2,300 square miles, 54 miles of river, and then you have a border patrol station here with 50 agents more or less to patrol that area. That's where we come in, as well as the Operation Lone Star resources. But since, like I said, since President Trump took over, we have seen a continued decline in apprehensions. This past 2-week period, we should have been busier because it coincides with the full moon cycle. That's usually when we see more activity in our area. However, the U.S. Border Patrol station here ran an operation that included us as well as the government of Mexico. And anytime in the past when we've run an operation like that, included the government of Mexico, it completely stops traffic south of the border in our area. But what we do anticipate is once those assets pull out, that we will start to see activity pick up again. Definitely. And that's something that we saw under President Trump's first administration. We had never had the U.S.-Mexico border patrolled by the government of Mexico. To be frank, they just don't care about people crossing into the United States. However, when President Trump threatened with tariffs during his first administration, and he put the military on the border, talking about the active duty, that was the first time we've had Title 10 active duty soldiers on the border. It also drove down illegal alien apprehensions and gotaways. So we've seen him do that again on his second administration, and I think that's part of the reason why we've seen such a decline. I like to attribute the decline due to his voice. Having a strong leader in the White House, letting the rest of the world know you're not going to cross into the United States illegally, sends a clear message to the entire world that we're going to patrol our borders and enforce the rule of law, and that's what we've done. However, to your specific question, if we do start to see an uptick in apprehensions, not only will U.S. Border Patrol assets flex into the area, but I would foresee us coordinating with the government of Mexico to get more patrols south of us in some of these more remote regions. So U.S. Border Patrol has began to close these soft side facilities. And at first, myself and others, were a little critical because we thought, hey, that could be a location you could house some of the people that are looking to deport from the interior of the United States. But like you mentioned, Preston, the soft side facilities are not a long-term detention facility. They don't have quite the security measures that ICE ERO requires to detain people. They work for the U.S. Border Patrol to detain those that we're processing, those that aren't likely to abscond because they're going to be given papers to walk anyways. So as the border activity becomes slower and we see less and less crossings, we're starting to see Border Patrol close more of these soft-sided facilities. We don't have any out here in our area of West Texas. The closest one we had was down in Eagle Pass, what they call Firefly facility, and it closed several months back. We also had some facilities, soft-sided facilities out in El Paso. I'm not sure the status of those, but again, hearing Border Patrol closing them, again, there's no reason to spend that money to keep those open when they can definitely use that money in other parts of the border.